On a frigid January day, as icy winds swept through the city's historic streets, Philadelphians braced themselves against the cold. But the chill in the air was more than just winter. It was the tension of a city on edge, ready to defend its values. Philadelphia's air was electric with defiance. Crowds gathered in the heart of the city, their voices rising in protest, determined to make themselves heard above the noise of uncertainty and fear. Sheriff Rochelle Bilal, flanked by District Attorney Larry Krasner, delivered a message that cut through the noise. Any federal agents, especially ICE, who broke the law in her city would face arrest. No exceptions. Her words echoed through the crowd, a promise of protection and accountability. Bilal called out the chaos caused by what she described as fake, made-up ICE, Trump's new army, vowing, "You don't want this smoke." Her warning was not just rhetoric, it was a declaration that Philadelphia would not be intimidated or bullied by outside forces. She laid out the rules: real police don't hide behind masks, fire into cars, or provoke violence. In her city, law enforcement was about service, not fear. And she made it clear that those who crossed the line would be held accountable. Krasner backed her up, promising to charge and convict any federal agent who committed a crime on Philadelphia soil. He spoke with conviction, emphasizing that justice in Philadelphia would not be compromised, no matter who the perpetrator was. Their stance was a direct response to the killing of Renee Good, a U.S. citizen, by an ICE agent. The tragedy had shaken the city, fueling outrage and sorrow, and turning grief into a call for action. This wasn't just a reaction, it was a warning. Philadelphia would not be a playground for federal overreach. City leaders stood united, determined to protect their residents from injustice, and to send a message that their city would not be trampled by unchecked power. The city's leaders made it clear, their loyalty was to their people, not to a divisive federal agenda. They stood shoulder to shoulder, showing the community that they would not back down, no matter the pressure from above. Philadelphia drew a line in the sand, daring anyone to cross it. In the face of adversity, the city's resolve only grew stronger, its leaders and citizens united in their stand for justice, dignity, and the unbreakable spirit of Philadelphia. The spark for this confrontation was the killing of Renee Good, an American citizen, not a statistic. Her name, her life, and her final moments would soon echo far beyond the city, where it all unfolded. Renee was a daughter, a friend, and a neighbor, someone who believed in the promise of safety and justice in her own country. But on that night, those promises were shattered in an instant. Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager-Dove recounted the chilling details. Renee was approached by an aggressive ICE agent, ordered out of her car, and shot through her window before she could react. The encounter was sudden, violent, and left no chance for explanation or mercy. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with shouts and confusion filling the air, and Renee's life ending in a matter of seconds. This was not a botched arrest, it was an execution in broad daylight. The evidence was undeniable. Bullet holes in the glass, blood on the pavement, and a community left in shock. The brutality of the act sent ripples of fear and outrage through the neighborhood. The act, caught on video, left no room for excuses. The footage spread rapidly, igniting anger and disbelief across the country. People watched in horror as the truth played out on their screens, unable to look away from the injustice. Renee's death wasn't isolated. Similar ICE shootings had just occurred in Minneapolis and Portland, with local authorities shut out of investigations. The pattern was clear: federal agents operating with little oversight, leaving devastated families and unanswered questions in their wake. But Renee's case struck a deeper nerve. She was a citizen, entitled to constitutional protection. Her rights, like those of every American, were supposed to be inviolable. The community gathered, mourning not just Renee, but the loss of trust in the very institutions meant to protect them. Her killing confirmed fears that federal agents were acting above the law. Civil rights advocates warned that unchecked power could threaten anyone, regardless of citizenship or background. The video forced the nation to confront the reality. This was no longer about policy, but about a woman killed by her own government. The demand for accountability grew louder, echoing from city streets to the halls of Congress. Renee Good became a symbol, a rallying cry for accountability. Her face appeared on banners, her name chanted at rallies, her story shared by millions who saw themselves in her struggle. Her death demanded justice, and Philadelphia's leaders vowed to deliver it. City officials promised transparency, pledging to fight for answers and to hold those responsible to account. The city would not let her story be forgotten. Renee's memory became a beacon, inspiring a movement for change, and a renewed call for justice that would not be silenced. As outrage grew, the White House scrambled to spin the story. President Trump claimed Renee Good was the aggressor, insisting she ran him over, but the video told the truth. The agent approached, barked threats, and fired. Renee never ran anyone over. The president's version was a fabrication exposed by the footage everyone could see. This wasn't just about one lie, it was a pattern of misinformation to justify aggressive policies. By painting Renee as a threat, the administration tried to excuse the inexcusable. The public saw the truth. A citizen killed, not a criminal stopped. The contrast between Trump's words and the video deepened the nation's distrust. For many, the choice was clear: believe the president, or believe your own eyes. The video didn't lie. Philadelphia demanded the truth. Renee Good's death sent shockwaves through the halls of Congress, igniting outrage and sorrow among lawmakers. In the aftermath, Representative Sidney Kamlager-Dove emerged as a leading voice for justice, refusing to let Renee's story be forgotten or dismissed. She stood before her colleagues, her words echoing through the chamber, demanding that the nation confront the uncomfortable truths behind Renee's tragic end. Kamlager-Dove directly challenged the notion that ICE agents should enjoy absolute immunity, calling it not just a legal fiction, but a dangerous lie that undermined the very foundation of justice in America. She argued that no government official should be above the law, especially when lives are at stake. She didn't stop at federal agencies. Kamlager-Dove called out state officials, including Governor Kristi Noem, for enabling federal overreach and failing to protect their own citizens. She demanded accountability at every level of government, insisting that silence and complicity were no longer acceptable. Drawing a stark and uncomfortable contrast, she reminded Congress that Capitol rioters, who attacked the very heart of American democracy, were granted due process, and some even received pardons. Meanwhile, Renee Good was executed in her car, denied her day in court, her rights stripped away in an instant. This exposed a glaring double standard: justice and mercy for some, but swift, fatal consequences for others. The pain and outrage of Renee's family and supporters became a symbol of a broken system. During tense hearings, some Republican members could be heard muttering, "If you don't comply, you will die." A chilling phrase that revealed a mindset valuing obedience over justice and authority over compassion. For these lawmakers, the power of the state seemed to outweigh the fundamental rights of its citizens, raising troubling questions about the direction of American democracy. Kamlager-Dove's impassioned words laid bare the nation's deep ideological divide, exposing the rift between those demanding reform and those defending the status quo. The halls of Congress became a battleground, not just for policy, but for the very soul of American justice, as lawmakers clashed over what kind of nation the United States should be. As protesters gathered outside and activists pressed forward, it was clear: the fight for accountability, equality, and true justice was only just beginning, and the outcome would shape the nation's future. Beneath the headlines, Philadelphia's leaders had quietly transformed public safety. Sheriff Bilal and DA Krasner's approach, community engagement, targeted enforcement, and fairness, drove homicides to a 60-year low. Their success wasn't built on force, but on trust and justice. While the White House pushed fear and chaos, Philadelphia proved that safety and civil rights could go hand in hand. Their results challenged the federal narrative. You don't need mass raids to keep a city safe. When Bilal and Krasner stood up to Trump's ICE, they did so with a proven record. Their warning wasn't bluster, it was backed by real results. Philadelphia's model was a beacon for cities nationwide. Renee Good's killing and Philadelphia's defiance ignited protests across the country. People marched, demanding justice and denouncing ICE's tactics. The political response was deeply divided. Some leaders condemned the violence, others justified it. The phrase, "If you don't comply, you will die," revealed a dangerous logic: obedience over rights. The contrast with the January 6th rioters, who received due process, was glaring. The administration doubled down, dismissing protests and criticism as attacks on law and order. This only deepened the nation's divisions and sense of injustice. The fight for justice was now a national reckoning. Renee Good's death was a symptom of a larger national crisis. President Trump's mass deportation program unleashed ICE in democratic cities, aiming for thousands of arrests daily. Fear and uncertainty spread, with reports of masked agents snatching people off the streets. Yet, industries favored by the administration were exempt from raids, exposing a cynical double standard. The president also deployed National Guard troops to major cities, escalating tensions and eroding trust. Philadelphia, once spared by political maneuvering, was no longer immune after René's death. The city's leaders were forced into confrontation, ready to defend their people. The shadow of federal policy had finally reached the city of brotherly love. The nation was on edge, and Philadelphia stood at the front lines. Philadelphia's response was about more than one tragedy. It was a stand for the rule of law. Sheriff Bilal and D.A. Krasner offered a vision of justice built on accountability, not intimidation. Their message resonated nationwide. Local leaders have the right and duty to protect their residents from unlawful actions, no matter the source. The events of January 2026 were a warning. Democracy's norms are fragile. Philadelphia, birthplace of American democracy, reaffirmed its founding ideals. The city promised justice for René Good and for all its people. In the fight for America's soul, Philadelphia would not back down.